So would you be happy if they run it back but have the correct lane assignment?
So
I still think Vayne is too risky.
Okay.
yeah, I was going to say, so high risk, high reward was the name of the game there, and it was a little bit too risky on that end. I was actually quite surprised to see them not go for the affiliates instead. I thought that it was something that they had success with, but just Hanwha was going to disrespect and just let through to them, but they opted in for not going for it, and I'd like to see Doggo has that stable again, because I do feel like it is the best champion he has in his entire toolkit.
Yeah, and we see bans going through. Surprise, surprise! It's Lucian, Jinzhao, and Lilia again for HLE. Ooh. And then, okay, so Chovy earned the Azir ban, which is very interesting to me because it means they did not take out the Aurelia or the Kiana.
Exactly, so it's two strong solo laners we finally get to see on Hanwha Life, and I wonder if they now prioritize that to the extent that we have seen earlier. We know that Hanwha Life has loved to run it back with 2 AD laners, have an AP jungler, and just pair it up nicely with that, you know, different magic and AD damage to come through in the composition.
Yeah, and obviously we already see the Aurelia coming through, presumably for Morgan. I mean, they can flex it, and again, the reason why I actually really want to highlight flexing is just because with PK and Liang both in, I still am looking to see, you know, maybe they'll swap up some of those lane assignments. Would not be surprised to see, yep, BYG locking in the MF. She's been the most picked and banned champion here, and the highest priority ADC. But
It wouldn't surprise me to see then that we start looking for Leona already, just because you know how volatile this champion is just in its own right. And I do actually think that just in terms of blind picking a power pick, it feels a bit better to go for, especially when you already have the misfortune. There's really not a lot of counters for this champion, but we all have often seen AD carries with a jungle rotation, and it seems like that's what we're going out on again. And I'm not too against it for Husha. I feel like he has shown the individual talent that he has been able to display as a jungler a bit here. Talent is one of these champions that's great for utilizing your own jungle pressure as an individual, but also the mobility you get on this champion allows you to have a better effect on your laners. For example, if you want to play fast for Doggo.
Yeah, and the flip side to that, right, is that you want pushing solo lanes, so which is going to be hard, just given the skill difference, honestly, like if we're being completely honest. So I'm wondering if they are going to go for the Ornn here, just because it is PK's most played champion. It's something he's super comfortable on, and it is locked in. So prioritizing that for PK changes this draft completely for me, because now I'm very curious. And you and I talked about this, like put Liang mid, have him deal with Chovy because he has a better understanding of lane assignments, put PK on Ornn. What do you think, Goldberg?
I mean, we were talking about it, so obviously I do agree. And nice rotation to come out here. It's actually interesting to see them now be like, you know what, we're going to try and remove some of these AP magic damage dealers in the mid lane instead, because Tryndamere is still a champion that is up, but we know Liang has played Tryndamere already. They could be looking for Trynd here, and you just say, screw the AP ratios, we don't care, we're just going for it as a takeaway here. But it's going to be interesting, because Hanwha Live already have a top side that's quite AD heavy. Obviously, there is some magic damage in the Kaiser, in the Aurelia, and we've already seen Hanwha Live run back a full AD composition, so something that can still be looked towards.
Are we a bit afraid for Beyond that it's such a playmaking heavy composition so far coming out of Hanwha Life that just seem like they want to destroy them?
I mean, it's not too bad just yet. The only problem I see right now is that if you don't get rid of the Braum here, there we go. Because I was going to say, this support has so much value coming into the Misfortune, coming into the Ornn, and if you want to 4-pick a Leona, then the Braum just has to get taken away. It just has too much value. So this is quite telling to me that you are in fact looking for that Leona.
And we already touched upon how both of us really like Leona as like the top tier support here. I actually think Amumu support is probably stronger than what we've seen, and we've seen a lot of forced playmaking or like misunderstanding of the early matchup. But even in the past game, we did see that once the Amumu support gets going, I thought it looked really good. I do think they are going to go 4-pick Leona here for sure, though, based on just that Braum ban.
Yeah, but just to, I know we're still in draft, but just to chime in on that Amumu support pick as well. It's just
okay, never mind. Completely wrong.
It's going to be the Alistar instead, and that does mean that, I mean, there's loads of champion you can pair up with a Kaiser to keep her safe throughout the laning phase, because the engage of Alistar, quite easy for a lot of champions to actually immobilize. So yes, you have the Gragas that's already been hovered, Thresh is another one, even Janna, if you want to go for enchanters, is something in the past that you go into the Alistar. I'm not expecting to see that, I'm just saying there's a lot of variety of champions that can can be used to stop the Alistar here.
Okay.
The Gragas coming in, and I'm curious to see
Yeah.
where that goes again.
It's going
because
bot.
I think it. I actually. So I agree. Like, but yeah, okay. And then Orianna for Chovy. I like this a lot. It's again like just something that I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, how are HLE gonna play this out?
Now, okay, so I saw the Orianna, and I thought to myself, maybe Liang want to challenge now on a champion like Tryndamere because he does fairly
Amazing.
well into control mages
No, the mid-orn.
with the sustain that you get. I mean, no, so it's not actually mid-on.
It isn't?
Because PK is sitting in the mid lane, and he's doing this
But
to
he's
troll all
gotta
of
go
you,
Yeah,
and he's
he's
gonna
gonna
go
go
top.
top.
I promise you, he's just sitting in this mid lane for the troll.
Was thinking of Shades of Doing Me. That's all I was thinking about. However, I mean, interesting choices across the board. I think what I'm hearing is a lot of love for the HLE comp once again, and for Beyond Gaming, slightly better choices than the last one. How do you think they will do in this game?
I mean, so they have the front line, right? Which is the most important part. I still think Talon is probably going to have a hard time because you won't have pushing solo lanes, so he's going to have to play around the bot side. But, I mean, this is complete comfort for HLE still. I think they'll be fine.
I think there's a lot of pressure on Kino. The fact that you need to get Doggo ahead, but now you have a support in a disadvantageous matchup. I think that can make the game really hard and difficult for Beyond Gaming once you start getting that level 6 through for the Misfortune.
Can I just say this was one of my favorite picks and bans, I think,
It was so fun.
ever. Just the insight that you guys gave, as well as the laugh sometimes at some of the choices. Really, really great stuff from you. And we're going to go over to our casters because the teams are already on the Rift for Game 3. So Oshin and Dagda, take it away.
Thank you so much, Shocks, Emily, and of course, Big G on the desk.
Leave the man alone.
No! I could think of worse things to call someone as I call him Big G, but we are jumping onto the Rift, very zoomed in, as we wait to see exactly how it all kind of pans out. But like they said on the desk, it is pure comfort for Hanwha Live. Every single one of these things we have seen these guys absolutely pop off on. And for Beyond, do you believe in miracles? Do you?
I don't know. It's going to be a tough one. I mean, looking at this, right? You've got great winning lanes coming through for a lot of what you have. Sorry, great winning lanes in solo lanes looking across for Hanwha, where you got the push for Chovy. You got Morgan, who should, at least in the early stages, be able to control this matchup against Liang. And it really feels like, again, Beyond, if they can hold out, maybe, but this is still going to be incredibly tough to try and operate this 1-4 composition.
Well, let us know what you guys think about this game. Of course, your cheers, your tears, what your analysis is with hashtag Verizon5G all chat. Curious to see what you guys can say, and if you have any thoughts, you know, maybe about that pentakill that was stolen. Stolen, Dagda.
In broad daylight.
In broad daylight. He was robbed. Okay, well, come on. You want to go? I'm done with that now.
You wouldn't steal a car. You wouldn't steal a pentakill.
You wouldn't steal a bear. You wouldn't download a bear. But speaking of now coming into download, looks like Hanwha Live have downloaded how this level 1's going to go. Is they're going to go straight in a 1v3. Sorry, 4v3 as they go in onto Kino. He might be forced to flash away. He does get ignited. Blue Buff is going to find himself in a little bit of a journey, find out who he is inside, but gets himself back into the pit, and that's going to be Willer starting off with this blue steel.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you got to go back home to find who you truly are, and that's exactly what happened to the Blue Buff. Now Husha is going to be controlling at least the Wolves, moving back up over into this top side, but I want to see what Willer's path is going to be, right? Because obviously you can move back in towards your own side, go for this 3-buff start, but you do want to try and at least control that top side. And especially when you've got Morgan and Chovy, you have push in the mid and top lane. It's going to be really difficult for Hush to find those opportunities to cross the river safely.
Yeah, and you still have, even though, yes, you did use the Ignite from Vista in that bot side, you still have the Exhaust on Def, so the idea of getting a kill or a summoner trade, not really there. You will have the level 2 hit first here by Def. They'll go straight in onto the belly bot, but a nice little pound on the ground keeps the bot lane of Beyond safe for the time being.
And you have to be so careful here as Doggo and Kino, right? You've already burnt the flash onto the Alistar. You know that it's a split map because Willer's already gone in towards the top side. So, unfortunately, taking a bit of a beating here for Beyond Gaming in these early stages. We'll have to see if they can try and find ways for Husha to get into these lanes and bring themselves into a better spot.
I got to call it out, though. PK this time around going towards that mid lane. We obviously saw him in top the last two, and this time around they're saying, look, you're the Ornn. You don't need a massive economy. You just need to survive, which in fairness to Beyond, that's what they've done the last few times. But now Husha seeing if he can maybe sneak on the Chovy here. Not a lot of mana onto the Orianna right now. Will just push himself over the wall and see if he can maybe find out where this blue buff is, and they will find now both junglers here on this top side. There is push in the top side here for Beyond, so a bit of a trade happening on, but there's Sonic Wave going to land. Willer trying to take this one down. He smites down for a little bit of health, but recognizes the Fiora roaming in is not the fight he wants to take.
Yeah, it still means though at least Husha will get one of these Scuttle Crabs, so it's not like he's going to end up losing both his blue and the Scuttles on both sides, which was kind of one of my worries here. But actually going to try and make his way back in, so still trying to be a nuisance here.
I mean, they don't know that he doesn't have Smite, and he knows that Willard doesn't, so Willard is not aware that there was a Smite difference right there, so just seeing if he can maybe just kite this one out is going to be a full-on chase for this blue buff. He goes in, it goes over to Willard, and that's going to be the 1v1 taking off right now. Flash, though, I don't know if that's worth your flash.
Yeah, I mean, just give up the blue. You already got that one on the bottom side. Go towards your wolves, but I think he was a bit scared of how much you might lose on this top side. So, I mean, nice job from Husha, right? Playing off of Liang's pressure on the top side to actually gain this back. The only thing is, when you look at the CS difference, right? Because you had this Fiora trying to play off to the side, now lost that push in the top save, but should be able to pick up a good amount as this wave crashes.
Already some early game shenanigans in the good words of Munchables as we come into these early stages. And honestly, it's kind of what I want to see from Beyond. You got to throw things at the wall. You got to see what sticks. You got to just try and put Hanwha Life off kilter if you're going to, in some way, shape, or form, come out with a W here, because right now you no more excuses, no more, you know, lives. Yeah, you've nothing left. You have to win.
And I think the biggest thing here is, again, keeping your eyes on this talent, right? Because PK will get shoved in. Liang will be able to fare reasonably okay in the top side. I want to see if Husha can get in towards this bot lane and set up Doggo once more. Because the big issue, obviously, Gragas here does really well against the Alistar, being able to deny that engage tool. But if you can find these moments where Def takes that step too far forward, where he's low in health like this, that can open up moments for Husha to find success.
Yeah, well, looks like exactly what you talked about. He's going towards that bot side. There is a ward, though, that spots him out, and Willer is here. So both junglers going to find themselves. But now Husha, I need to be a bit careful, buddy. He has flash available to him. There's no flash on the Lee Sin. They might be able to turn this one around. They have the rest of the bot lanes there. Hanwha Life thinking about it, but not fully committing to getting onto that jungler.
And I like that from Beyond. They just back off. They know that they don't have the flash on Kino just yet. About another minute before that one comes back up. So they decide to wait until Kino has that, and they can always rinse and repeat. So keep your eye in 2 minutes' time as Leon
He had to flash. Yeah, he had to flash. If you're getting up those stacks and you're passing alongside the Conqueror, you are just in a bad spot. But now here we go. The Ornhorn used into the mid lane. Chovy forced to flash. And PK, I gotta say, so far, this laning phase from the two subtle laners much better than game 1 and 2.
Yeah, you can see it's far closer here. And again, Leon, a little bit behind, but he's got a big wave to spend to crash. So keeping Hanwha at within arm's reach, and now you're like 400 gold behind. It's not a huge amount. Hush has now got 2 lanes he can look to play around with. Chovy not having access to that flash. Whereas when you look at the bot side as well, you can always try and make that play onto the bot lane.
Well, with no Ornhorn available, but there is a flash gone from Chovy. You will take that trade now. Hush, seeing if you can maybe do something back into this bot side. Chovy is roaming down. We're going to pick up a bit of a honey fruit to get some mana back into his system, but then maybe they look for a dive in this bot side. You do have the Ignite available for Kino, and he would have the Aftershock, but he doesn't feel it right now. Husha just going to walk himself back up and realize that the Orianna is probably in the vicinity.
Yeah, unfortunately, no level 6 for Kino. It's going to be a while before he gets that one, so not going to be able to go too heavily on towards the dive, but just making sure you're able to crash this wave successfully as Doggo. I want to see them reset, though, see if they can look for a push on this bot side once more, and then try and play towards the Rift Tower, because if you can get Doggo his level 6 and try and use it at the Rift Tower, that could be one way for Hanwha to abuse the fact, hey, Chovy isn't going to have too much damage in these early stages, and Deft can't roam up to facilitate that play.
Now we are going to see junglers on the top side, but we got ourselves the hashtag Verizon 5G all chat from FBX Shatter. It's going to be ATC Shatter. Excuse me. Love the Hanwha Life comp, but let's see if Big will strike back. He believes, they believe, excuse me, they believe in the comeback. And like we said, it's all on Doggo, but the Misfortunes had a fantastic time this tournament, so has been shown to be a very priority pick and could put out an absurd amount of damage even in the late stages.
Yeah, and I mean, it's trying to control this bot lane, trying to see if you can play around this Beyond, but unfortunately not going to happen. And also we were talking about, hey, let's see if they potentially roam up towards this Rift Tower, trying to use the fact that Doggo should be able to reset first, but Deft actually gets a really nice reset timing as well, so he's back in the lane to contest it. So unfortunately Beyond not being able to play towards these objectives, but Beyond?
Leon going in against Morgan, but there is a jungler here, and there's no jungler for you, so it's going to be a 2v1. Going to have the riposte, but first blood going over to Willer.
Willer in a really good spot there, and again, reading the map right, knowing that Rift Tower is just up, so trying to see if they can make that play top to get this first objective for themselves. Kino had made his way up, but it's too little too late, and Hanwha will secure the objective.
You can see now, knowing that they have the topside pressure, Depp feels confident to go in with the killer instinct. Misses the W though, which is going to stop a lot of that damage. You can almost see that he probably would have killed him had he landed that ability. And now that's your exhaust down, that's your ultimate down. Deft went for a play, didn't quite work out.
I mean, not the end of the world though, right? Because you just end up using the killer instinct, you get a ton of damage down, and this opens you up now if you want to try and make some play over towards the dragon. Now, Husha is here, but honestly, with the pressure bot and also Chovy going to be able to clear this wave mid, I wouldn't want to touch this.
I mean, Husha and PK are around. They both have their ultimates available to them, and Willer's going to go in, he's going to get knocked up, and they're going to fully commit to this one. They flash in on top of him, he flashes away. They will get the knock up onto him, but an immediate respect here, and Beyond, they're starting to push some buttons.
Yeah, it's just sad that they're not actually able to close out these kills, right? Like, you end up jumping onto the Lee Sin, ton of mobility, but you're investing flashes, ultimates, and Hanwha still here, safe in the spot side, can actually clear out the Krugs as well, so there's just nothing that Big can do as they crash this big wave.
You do have the Unbreakable Will here for Kino, so if he takes the turret aggro, they're going to try and jump on the Depth, who has got flash, uses it immediately, has to respect the Vista, trying to see if he can make something happen himself. The explosive cast could just disperse everybody. There we go, going to try and fully commit to it, but the minions are in your way, Vista. You cannot belly bop into the face of misfortune with them.
I think he's just trying to clear out the wave, like rightfully kind of looking at, hey, where the hell is PK? He's left mid lane, or maybe looking for some sort of dive, so just trying to soften up the blow that could have gone into the bottom lane, and it means that Hanwha are still safe. Willer is well, responding well to all that pressure bot side, but getting the invade onto the top lane, keeping Morgan safe, who's slowly but surely opening up the CS lead in the top side.
Yeah, able to get the CS lead, of course has that assist as well, so 700 or so gold in that top side, and as well, just that 700 gold equals a, Executioner's Calling. That extra bit of healing reduction going to be huge, as now the jungler is going to try and fight this one off, but you're Hanwha Life and you have Chovy in the mid lane, you have perma push and perma priority, there's no way PK could help you out.
Yeah, I mean...
Oh, as I say that though, Chovy getting ignited. So we're going to see Willer just jump in as well. The shockwave goes down, lands onto one. Husha still very healthy, up to about half HP. We can see in the picture. Bot lane being pushed all the way back as Deft, with no summoners, has to respect the misfortune who used the bullet time.
But this is so much better, right? I mean, Beyond Gaming, we're 10 minutes into the game, and this is the closest gold lead that we've had throughout this series. Now, it's still being traded on the bot side for the mid lane, but honestly, it's not the end of the world for Beyond Gaming, right? You want Doggo to be your big carry alongside the Fiora in the side lane, so getting gold there is going to work wonders, whereas you're splitting it between Willer and Chovy, who, Chovy, if you can get to the late game, yes, would be huge, but Beyond Gaming are trying to win these team fights before Chovy gets to that 30 item mark.
Sorry, I just looked at Willer and Chovy's gold just accelerate massively before my eyes. So, like you said, the jungle mid combination going to be the big key here for Hanwha Life, but Beyond, they are only a little bit far behind. They was very close. Now they're 2,000, gold in the deficit. So they have to try and be a bit more proactive. They have to try and get themselves onto the map and make it back up.
Yeah, and the big thing here is that, like, Chovy, when we get towards team fights, is actually going to have a pretty difficult time in finding big key ultimates, right? Because you're going to have Orin, who's playing that front line. You got the Talon's going to be playing off sides. I doubt we'll actually see Leon trying to join in for a lot of these fights. So you end up in a situation where you don't really have the range to get on towards Doggo when he's ulting. So you're hitting onto two big tanks in Kino and PK. Maybe you save it for Husha. And we're not going to see a lot of these, in theory, big shockwaves unless Beyond Gaming misposition.
Now Willer, with that completed Gore Drinker, will have the number of Husha, and Husha rightfully places a ward. By your wards, ladies and gentlemen, as we now see an engage on the spot side. It's going to be Kino taking a lot of damage. He's ignited down as well. There's a lot of true damage coming out. We're going to see a great explosive cast on the Doggo, who's exhausted immediately. You do have Willer off to the side, but they're not quite able to land anything just yet. Good trades here for Hanwha Life, and they got Chovy roaming.
Yeah, Kino's super low, and not having that ultimate means they're going to have to back away from this turret completely. So nice play from Hanwha. They don't get the kills, but they get exactly what they needed.
Yeah, they get the pressure. They got themselves
TP
pushing
behind them.
off. TP coming in, though. That's PK. You only join the fight now. He's going to see the Ornhorn coming in, but Kino trying to keep himself alive as long as possible. Bounce House goes down onto Willer. Deft is underneath the tower. That's a good bullet time coming across the side of Hanwha. They are not able to help out Willer just yet. We're going to see the jump over, but Willer is just stronger. Has the Gore Drinker, but passive and active, keeping himself sustained. And now Doggo and PK trying to see if they can just keep this wave away, keep this turret on their side, because they know that Hanwha are hungry.
I mean, they're still trying to go for this. Morgan's doing a great job on top side of keeping Liang interested as well, so he's not able to use that TP advantage to come down. So all said and done, Hanwha back away. Turret plates, kills, Dragon, well executed by Hanwha.
And you use so much on the side of Beyond Gaming as well, so you don't gain a lot from it. Yes, you trade back a kill, but unfortunately for you, it wasn't onto the misfortune. Yes, it's on the Husha, but we said it time and time again, you need Doggo ahead.
It's unfortunate there that, again, Hanwha, their game plan for this series, put Doggo down, put him behind, make sure that he's the one that's feeling the hurt, and we're getting to see it here once more, right? You already got him, Doggo, right the way back from this turret. Now, honestly, I think Beyond Gaming do a really good job of setting up this play, and shout out to Kino, because with that help bar and Alistair, I would not have thought of going for this play, but you see it here, right? Gets that headbutt over the wall to set up Willer into the wrong spot, and it actually gives them a little bit of control, gives them the opportunity to find these plays, but Hanwha, death goes down, but Willer, too big, too much damage coming through from that shockwave, and Husha just doesn't have the Core Drinker yet to actually be able to heal back up.
Yeah, just having that sustain was so big for Willer, and you do know that one fizzled out right towards the end. It's now a 3,500 gold lead for Hanwha Light. They got themselves the first dragon of the game as well. They're going to keep pushing up. I will say, though, you have gotten in the Iceborne Gauntlet, or excuse me, not the Iceborne Gauntlet, the
Frozen Fist.
Frozen Fist, thank you so much. The Gore Drinker, and now the Gale Force for Doggo. So you are picking up these big one-item spikes. You just got to try and find an opportunity to use them. It's Frostfire Gauntlet, that's what it is.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. I just wanted to say that it was there in my head, you know, alongside the other
Frozen
thousands.
Fist is the upgraded one, is it? I don't know. Look, we're going to leave that behind the past. It's in the past. Nobody forget it. All right, whatever. But moving on, I think, yeah, I want to see more of the opportunities for Beyond to make things happen. I would love for them to try and find these like fights in corridors like this, because think of like Ornotes, you know, Doggo putting in the misfortune ult, you end up like tearing through a lot of the health bars, and you make it really difficult for people like Deft to try and position, but Shockwave goes wide.
Does go wide, but the rest of Hanwha Life are here. PK looks like he's just going to give up his life to save his jungler and say, look, I'm overextended. We got bot lane turret. Kill for a turret. It still feels in favor of Beyond, but with the Rift Tail going down now towards this top side, it's going to be very difficult to make that stick, as we now get the Vanguard's edge going in. Morgan has to back away, though, because he was tanking the turret aggro. We're going to see a nice little flash away. There's not really a lot you can do. Husha is here on top of Morgan, but I don't know if you want to take this fight right now. He goes straight into the invisibility. He's trying to turn this one around with the Gore Drinker. He flashes away. He's got the rake down. It's all these burning of summoners, and it ends up being a 2-for-none in favor of Hanwha Life.
It's a flash and a dash, but at the end, it's Husha's blood that splashes across the Summoner's Rift, and now Hanwha, they're the ones that are trading up in towers. Mid lane, Doggo!
Oh, the Gale Force just brings him underneath the turret, so Willer needs to respect the distance there. So Doggo able to keep himself alive, but mid tier 1 and 2 goes down. Top tier 1 goes down. He's just losing on all sides, and Hanwha Life, they're picking up the gears.
They're picking up the pace massively, and you can see it reflecting that gold, right? Chovy, massive. Willer, massive. A 7,000 gold lead creeping up there for Hanwha as Deft will finish off this tower. And Beyond, you held on for a long, long time, but it just feels like Hanwha are just that step beyond what you can do.
They're going to get bot tier 1 as well, but maybe they look for a TP, or actually never mind, they're going to look for the Ornhorn and going on the Chovy, who flashes the complete other direction. Husha trying to jump in onto him, going to try and jump over the wall. Parkour, hardcore, parkour. As we can see, Def now going in with the killer instinct on the backside of this. Husha just cannot sustain. They won't be able to catch out Chovy on this Orianna, and he's still as safe as a house.
And look at the rest of the map, right? Hanwha shove in mid, so now you got to go reset his Beyond to go get it. You got to go deal with top wave, so Hanwha get these nice resets. They're coming back out on the map. You're looking at like the dragon in a minute and a half, which will be the second one. You're going to have a Rift Tower that'll be coming up fairly soon, or actually he's already taken from Willer, which means that they'll be able to pop that fairly soon up into the top lane, get that tier 2, as they just let Morgan split push on bot side.
running out of options here, Beyond. You cannot really wait. You're not really going to win on the silence like you just mentioned. You just have to try and get levels into PK, get gold into Doggo, and try and just find some kind of miracle fight. You are already, I know it's only 17.5 minutes into this game, but you're already looking at that doomsday scenario where you just, again, like you said, throw a Hail Mary and hope to God there's a receiver down the end of the field.
Yeah, and look, you can kind of see it now, right? Hush and Doggo moving up here. You don't usually want to commit your AD carry alongside your mid laner, but in this scenario, they're just desperate for something ward spot them out.
They gotta go. Morgan does not have flash, does have the Vanguard's Edge though, and the flawless duet should he want it. There's going to be the bullet time used to just try and keep him away, but a lot of CC makes it a bounce house. But look at the health he gets back with that core drinker. They finally get the shutdown, but while this is happening, Liang, he's left to defend by himself. There's Shelly pushing the bot side. Your base is falling apart.
I mean, that was the desperation. That's the Hail Mary, and unfortunately, it's a fumble, and it's an interception too. Beyond now, starting to move in towards this bot side. They managed to crack it open, the turret. The Rift Herald doing its work, and Hanwha, they'll back up and say thank you very much. Our dessert as well? Yeah, that'll be a dragon for us.
It's just so much. Hanwha playing this map so cleanly, and now with everyone backing away, they're going to team up with Liang into that top side. Just try and get some kind of gold. Important to recognize there was a little bit of shutdown go up to Doggo, so he is getting towards that Essence Reaver, but you're losing so much in the rest of the map. It just becomes so difficult to try and trade up.
And it sucks for Beyond Gaming, right? I mean, you're trying to deal with Hanwha, but you're going up against so many veterans in this team. You're going up against a team that a lot of people weren't really expecting to be here, but making that run in regionals and coming so close yet now being so far. Hanwha, they look like they're about ready to try and close this one out.
They are one game away, one Nets explosion away from joining the rest of their LCK brothers and sisters in the group stage. They are doing a very, very good job right now of just making sure that one happens. 6,500 gold in the favor of Hanwha Live. 2 dragons as well. They've got themselves the stacking. They finally have an Ornn item. It is on Ornn, but it is an item as, again, Beyond started off much better on this, and they got to try and find some opportunities. They got to try and find some windows, but I just don't think Hanwha's going to let them have it.
Yeah, this has been very similar to what we've seen from Hanwha, though, all throughout play-ins, right? When you look at, like, their gold per minute, they're, like, second in the play-ins, almost averaging 2,000 gold per minute, and we're seeing a very similar story here, right? Not quite at the 2,000 mark, but still very impressive when it comes towards that gold per minute. And Beyond Gaming just haven't been able to keep up. The lanes are in Hanwha's favor, the map state's going in their favor, and now they're trying to collapse onto boss.
They gotta go. They gotta try and take down Morgan, but I don't think they're gonna get the knock-up. They do not, and you can see with the Vanguard's end, he's pushing all around the field. He's gonna get the W down, but not quite able to keep himself alive. But you've committed 3 members to bot side. Hanwha Live gonna turn onto the Baron. You do have a bullet time and a TP. They're gonna try and go for this contest.
I mean, you're hoping for a miracle steal, but Hanwha, they're already on it. It's already so low.
They're not going to have the Fiora or the Talon, but they're just delaying. Hanwha don't want to flip this. They know that if it goes wrong, this game becomes far more interesting, and they back themselves up. So Beyond, it costs your teleport, but you got to kill, and we take that.
Honestly, I'm surprised that we just didn't see Hanwha go for the engage, right? You know that you've still got Liang and Husha who are trying to make it up from top bot side now. As a Talon, you can get there a little bit faster than most people, but they were still a breath away, and unfortunately, Hanwha decide, no, that's not what we want to. Well, I suppose, fortunately for Beyond Gaming, they decide that they don't want to commit to that. It means you get Liang pushing in bot. You don't really lose too much, apart from maybe Kino.
Ooh, the shockwave keeps Kino just on the edge of the wall, wasn't dragged back, so he's able to keep himself alive. You take an ult for an ult, and again, Beyond will take that trade, but now not having that unbreakable will, you may look just to try and go and turn and burn for this Baron. However, there is still a ward, no teleports available. They're going to go jump onto it. They haven't cleared this one yet.
I mean, when have wards stopped them? We've already seen it in the last game that they're more than happy to do this on Vision, but now they're just trying to bait Vista sitting in the bush.
They're sitting in the bush. Vista gonna jump in, flash belly bot there. It's a good ultimate though. The bullet time keeps everyone away from Husha, excuse me, is now Vista trying to catch on to PK. He's going to slow him down, though, with the dissonance. Liang is here. Now we got the Ornn Horn and the TP coming in. It's going to be Morgan off the backside of this. It's a 2-man knock-up. Vista in a little bit of trouble, but Liang just doesn't really have the damage to take him down. He flashes back in on top of him, but he will fall for his greed. And Beyond, they trade one back, and that's going to be their split push. Fiora not available to this. Luckily for them, that's not the person that needed for this fight. But again, Hanwha Life back onto the Baron.
Yeah, and I mean, you've got so much damage here with Deft, Kraken Slayer, having that passive. Willer is going to be working alongside us. Morgan and Chovy, just use this time to zone off beyond gaming. Pusha has been spotted.
He has been spotted. He knows what the health of the Baron is right now, though. 6,000 HP. He's going to have to make a bit of a guess. We can see Chovy and Vista roaming in as the bodyguards. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. They're going to get the shockwave, and it catches him in the animation. He goes down. The Baron is secured. Hanwha life. 10,000 gold, or just shy of it now in the Ascendancy, and they are looking to put the final little licks of paint onto this masterpiece that has been this best of 5.
Yeah, and I mean, very dominant coming through from Hanwha throughout this series, and we're starting to see again laners stepping up. Now we get the play here where it was a nice attempt on the, as we get the Axe replay here, but not really able to find the damage that they want. PK coming in, not able to actually get that big Ornal to set up for people like Doggo. And then Hanwha, they just turn and chase them down.
Yeah, they're just a bit too separated right now. You can see it's kind of a 2v5 with 3 people off to the side because they just can't get anyone in there. Doggo knows that if he walks in through that choke, he's just going to get focused, so he has to back himself away and just doesn't really have the time to set himself up properly for that fight. And like you mentioned earlier, there's going to be the a big Baron power play presented by Red Bull coming in now for Hanwha Life.
Yeah, and that's the thing here. I don't know how big this Red Bull Baron power play is going to be because there's not a huge amount left on the map for Hanwha. They've already taken the bot inhibitor turret. You've already taken most of the tier 2s apart from that top lane, and Hanwha, they can just look to shove in and make the most of it.
Yeah, we'll see what's going on now as the rest of Hanwha now funnel themselves towards bot and mid. They've got 2 waves pushing. Liang is nowhere to be seen. He gets hit by the sonic wave, but that turret in the mid lane is pretty much done. Beyond, this is your moment. This is where you have to make your last chance, your last stand. You cannot just let this one go to 1,000 cuts. You have to try and be defiant, but I don't think they're waiting for the perfect engage.
There.
Yeah, I was going to say Liang is not there, and they're losing their entire base.
I mean, you've got nothing here. Hanwha, they're perfectly fine to just keep pushing. These minions are streaming in beyond now with the TP.
TP going to be coming in. It's going to be on the backside of this fight. They're going to go way deep, all the way down towards the blue buff. As now, 5v5. Here we go. Beyond. Going to start it off. There's the Ornhorn. They're going to knock up Kino to stop the engage on the Chovy. Chovy running away as fast as he possibly can. The bullet time, he'll absolutely squat. And now you're going to try and take this one going. Def gets himself over the wall with the killer instinct. And that's it. You've used everything. You've nothing left in the tank, and Hanwha Life will very, very easily take you to the cleaners. Back to the Shadow Realm, back down. Hanwha Life will take absolutely everything from Beyond, and Hanwha Life in a 3-0 will join the rest of the LCK in the group stages.
LCK fans rejoice as one more representative will move on to that group stage. Hanwha, a clean 3-0 today.
And Deft getting his first best of 5 win in 7 years.
I mean, World Championships have not been the cleanest for Deft, but now, well, let's say the happiest for Deft. But now, moving forward once more, we'll have to see if he can continue to break this curse moving on to the group stage.
Fantastic work by Hanwha Life. They had an objective today. They pretty much executed on it, said we're stronger in lanes, we just need to stop Doggo from popping off, and they did just that in almost every single game.
Yeah, I mean, it's the easy game, right? It's something that we have the desk talk about every time we've seen Beyond Gaming is, hey, they're going to go for a lot of these protected Doggo comps. They're going to try and play around the bot side, and we got Willer consistently playing around that bot lane, setting up Def for success. And when we saw Def getting a lot of these strong early game AD carries throughout the series, it meant that you just had these great team fights you could lean on alongside your 2 solo laners mini names.
The Church of Chovy rejoice. You shall have Chovy going up against Doonby, Showmaker, Baker. He will get his opportunity to show the best, with the best of the best, how good he really is. And for Hanwha, again, you did your job. You did what you needed to do.
Yeah, and I think they did it spectacularly, right? You end up with solo laners looking absolutely fantastic. Chovy once again controlling in that mid lane. Morgan as well stepping up on picks like the Aurelia to actually dictate the pace of that up against both PK and Liang. So I think you can be fairly happy with this performance. And I think for a lot of people that were doubting them going in towards groups, yes, you can still see these issues, but definitely a confident performance.
Yeah, well, that is going to be it for this series and from us. But as we step away, let's take a look at the very first trailer for our upcoming original series, Arcane, which is releasing on Netflix on the 6th of November. I'm excited. I'm excited for that one.
Definitely.
It's going to be fun.